Welcome to Not Starving Artist, the podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Benson, money coach and equity actor. I am your financial cheerleader, here to help you build your financial confidence and have power over your money. The best part, no budgeting or bi-weekly paychecks required. I went from being a broke BFA grad having weekly panic attacks about money to a financially confident, wealth-building actor and business owner. Money gets to feel fun, simple, and sexy, and I am going to show you how. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Let's talk about making more money today. Making more money, let's start off with, I don't care what income level you are at, I want everyone to be making more money. More money is so much fun, right? Like, we love to play with more money. And especially if you're here on this corner of the internet, it means you have a good heart and that you treat people well and that you're not an evil person who would do evil things with money, which means I want more money in your hands, okay? So we're grounding this conversation with, we all should be making more money. We love it. It's fun. And now let's second that with, it's really easy for your income to feel like your main money problem. I hear so many people who their first thing they say is like, I just need to make more money. I just need to make more money. I don't make enough. If only I could make more money, then everything would be fixed. And that is never the only problem that is on the table. And I know this because I work with clients who are at every income level. I work with people who are $50,000 in debt, and I work with people who have multi-million-dollar businesses, okay? So across the whole gambit. And just because you make more money doesn't mean all of your money problems go away, right? You have to learn new management and money skills at every single income level. So I want to just start there as we start talking about income. That being said, I have noticed there's been this shift, and I have felt it within myself. So I'm going to share with you a personal experience I had and how I literally decided to make more money and then went and made more money over the past 2 months. I kind of like dropped it. I kept saying I was going to do a podcast episode about it for like 2 months now, and I'm finally getting around to it. Because I have a training in my video portal that all of my one-on-one clients get called Make an Extra $500 a Month. And what this training does is it helps you get in the energy of bringing in more dollars. And this method works for making something like $500 a month, but it also works for if you want to double your business revenue, right? And you want to start thinking more creatively, or you feel like you're at a plateau with your income, or you just want like a little bit of extra money on the side. Like, it works for all these different scenarios. So I decided to actually take that training and experiment on myself for 2 reasons. I wanted to show my clients what it actually looks like in real time for me to do it. But then also, I was feeling some things that I'm going to get into in a minute that made it seem like this would be a really great way for me to get back down into the trenches with my money making ability, to be able to build that confidence back up in myself when it felt like stability was kind of being taken away from me. So going back to like the energy that I've been feeling, I've been hearing from a lot of my clients when we're on calls, even if they're in a stable job, right? Whether it's their day job that's supporting their acting career, their 9 to 5, there is this energy of wanting to eventually have more autonomy over their money making, having more autonomy over their income, wanting to be able to either create something of their own or be able to leave something that they could foresee becoming toxic in the future, wanting to move to something that's more aligned. And I think why this is happening is because we're watching and experiencing what's happening in the world, right? Where things have just gotten a lot more unstable, right? And with like the big things, like we see climate change happening, right? We've been witnessing these hurricanes, but then on like the global scale, right? Like seeing all of the, like on social media, we're constantly bombarded with like images and stuff we have to like grieve daily as we just like wake up and start scrolling at 7 a.m. But then we also like the election that just happened, right? And it feels like, oh, fuck, like what can I actually hold on to, right? What can I grab onto to give me stability? And I know too, within the online business community, right? Those of us who built our own businesses, the economy and the landscape has shifted. Now, I will be the first one to say that what the economy is doing and what like the overall energy is in a certain industry does not have to dictate what your experience is, right? Because there are so many companies and businesses that are thriving during a recession, right? That doesn't mean every single company goes under. There are actors who are still booking even during strikes, right? Like, so it doesn't have to mean that that is the case for everyone, right? Exception to the rule energy. I'm sure you all have heard me talk about this before. If not, if you haven't heard me talk about that, go back a few episodes, and it's a episode titled something about delusional thinking. Go listen to that episode. I dive deeper into that there. But what I will say is there's this consensus, right? Or this overarching feeling of we all just want a little more autonomy, and we're all not necessarily losing trust in things externally to us, but wanting to trust more of ourselves, right? Wanting to have a little more control. And I think it's just making all of us, as silly as this is, like money always comes back to like the core of life and like, what do you want? Money touches everything. So I was actually having a conversation with one of my clients this week where she was sharing about like kind of having to face mortality and like, wow, like life is short. What do I actually want it to look like? Right. And like that, when you work on your money, it sometimes gets back to that. And so I think a lot of us are having to face that right now, right? Of these big meta like thoughts and ideas, the existential thoughts, right? So with that comes, okay, fuck this dead end job. Fuck me waiting for my series regular to hit while I'm doing this job that I hate. Let me go do something I love so I'm not just sitting around waiting for my life for something that may or may not happen, right? Or maybe TV just dies altogether and it's something totally new and I've been trying to get this thing that doesn't even exist in the future, right? So it's causing us to have all of these thoughts. So when we're thinking about making more money, changing your income source, wanting to shift your income source, there are two different things I want you to think about when it comes to income, and I want you to see which category you fall into, okay? Actually, I'm going to say three. I'm going to say three different categories of wanting to shift your income. So the first category is I need cash in my bank right now because I am not even breaking even, or I am breaking even, but I don't have money to like put into savings. And like this, I like kind of that urgent now feeling of like, fuck, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent next month. Or you're like, I just need a little bit of extra money for like to put into savings, or like, oh fuck, I just had a medical bill that I wasn't expecting and I don't have the money in the bank for it, right? I want to call these like, my business coach calls them cash injections, but like when you want to get cash in your bank right now, right? So that's one category. It's more short-term, immediate solutions rather than a long-term solution. Then we have these two other categories, which are more long-term. So this second category of people, you fall into this if you are someone who is working a job where you are breaking even, right? You're like making some, maybe you're not making enough, but you're right at that threshold, or there's not really a next level that you can go where you're currently at, right? So for example, if you are working at a restaurant and you become the manager and you're there and it's not really paying the bills, and it's like a good restaurant, right? Or it's barely paying the bills, but not enough to let you travel how you want to travel or live in the apartment you actually want to live in, right? So like that's an example. Another example is you're in a job that's paying you really well, but it is draining you. I had a client who she's working as a utilities something. I could never remember her title. She could barely remember her title. She would have to look it up, but it was like a utilities manager or something. And she is an actor at heart. She is an artist. And so what we were talking about is, right, so even though it's paying you, it's paying the bills, at some point, this has to totally shift, right? Like you have to make a career, a lifestyle, a big shift that isn't just about, let me get a $20 raise per hour even, right? Or like, let me move up in management and no, this is like a totally different lifestyle shift that needs to happen. And then the third type of person is you're doing a job you love and you're making good money, but you just want to up the level, right? Like, so this is for my business owners who want to increase their revenue or increase their profit, right? They're like in alignment with where they want to go, but they're kind of feeling stalled with their income. Or you are someone who you're working a 9 to 5 and you love your career path, but you need to like shift into a different company in order to get the kind of raise that you want to increase your income to the level that you want. So those are the 3 categories of increasing income that I want to talk about today. So why we're getting specific on what category you are in is because each of these categories requires something different. What I notice a lot of people do is they're just like, okay, I need to make more money. And so more, when you say the word more, your brain doesn't really know what that means. It's not specific at all. All it knows is more equals more. So if you're working a job that pays you $17 an hour, and then there's another job that you want to apply to that increases your income to $20 an hour, your brain goes, more, that's good, that's what we want. But is $20 an hour versus $17 an hour actually moving the needle for you? Probably not, right? So you need to actually quantify what more means. So this is, again, a conversation that I've been having with a lot of my clients. It's like, okay, in the whole tier of where you're working in your job right now, when you think about the lifestyle you want to lead and the kind of money you want and need to make, is there anything in this realm of where you're currently at that allows you to get there? And if the answer is no, it's like, okay, well then we are literally going to stop putting energy towards anything that's in that realm, right? Whether it's like an income level or a type of job. You just need to throw it out the window and start, and that doesn't mean you quit tomorrow, but it means the energy of what you're searching for and creating and doing, it's not just about getting that incremental raise or like making a little bit of cash on the side. It's about a full career and lifestyle change. That being said, there are some people who are like, yeah, it would just be really nice to have an extra $500 a month because the only thing I'm missing in my life is a bi-monthly massage. And that would give me the money to have a bi-monthly massage, right? Or you wanna, like, your income is fully supporting you and you're able to travel how you want and save how you want, but maybe you're investing. You're like, ooh, if I could literally just increase my income by $10,000 a year, if I could get a $10,000 a year raise, I can put that $10,000 into my retirement accounts and be able to retire like 15 more years early or whatever it is. So again, these are very different than solutions of where you're going to put your energy because we have a finite amount of energy, right? As a human being, you do not have endless energy, right? Contrary to what some brains, i.e. mine, likes to tell you, right? Which is you can do everything all the time, forever and ever. You will never run out of energy. If you're into human design, I'm a generator. And so generators, we just like have endless energy when we're doing something we love. So it makes us feel like we can just go and 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 never stop. That is not how our bodies work. Right? I have gotten sick more than I ever have this year because I keep trying to push myself past my bandwidth. So we're switching that for the rest of this year and for 2025. But what I am saying about this is you have to choose wisely where you put your energy when it comes to making more money. So now I want to tell you, I want to share with you now my experience in implementing this make an extra $500 a month training that I teach my clients. The process itself is called the 3M process. So I'll kind of like roughly overview it. Basically what you're doing is like the first step is you're doing a big brainstorming process. And then we're getting like you're going into a little bit of manifestation or putting in a GPS location. Deciding on your North Star, right? Which is part of categorizing yourself in one of those 3 areas, okay? So deciding what kind of new money you want to be making, what does that actually look like? Writing out your dream job description, writing out the extra kind of money you actually want to make, put a number to it. Let's get manifestation on the board, right? So writing that down and then brainstorming a million different ways that could happen, whether you like the ideas, you don't like the ideas, you're just letting your brain run wild with ideas, okay? And then the third thing is you are just taking action like fucking mad, like crazy. Because the goal with taking action when it comes to making more money is you're not trying to find the right thing. You're trying to hit a conclusion as fast as you can. So for example, what was one of my clients, she was doing this. She was looking for a new job. She was wanting to leave a restaurant job. And she was thinking about working at a diamond retailer, right? She had a connection with a diamond retailer, and that seemed like something that she was really interested in. So what she started doing was she like reached out to a friend. She hit an application here. There was like an online course she maybe needed to take. So she started making moves quickly, right? Until she hit a dead end with that opportunity, right? And that's not a bad thing. It just means that now she can take her energy and move it somewhere else, right? She was also doing multiple things at that time. I'm going to talk about that in a second, having multiple irons in the fire, which is also great for my actors too. This is going to apply to so many things in life, as do all money lessons. So then she could move her energy somewhere else. So it was about taking action quickly because, okay, let me way back up. We like to feel, I'm going to keep going with how I phrase that. We like to feel like income is out of our control. We do, because it's easier to feel like you don't have control because it causes you to not have to take action. And especially when it comes to income and making more money, a lot of us have so many sticky thoughts about money and our worthiness and making money, asking for money, charging for services, getting paid more. We have so many sticky thoughts about that because also so many of us were raised that like money's a dirty word. We don't talk about money, right? So from that, taking action around increasing your income makes your body go, no, fuck, don't do it, right? So we kind of lean back and you're like, well, this is just what it is, or like, it'll happen if it happens. It puts you in the lean back energy. But when you put yourself on the hook and you're like, I do want to make more money. I want to make X amount more cash a month, or I want to completely change my lifestyle so that I'm making this much a year, or like, this is the business revenue I want to be making at this profit margin. When you get clear on that, it puts you on the hook to have to actually take action. So let me talk about my experience, and then I'm going to give you a few client examples that were a little bit different. So my experience was, I decided to implement this, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to focus on making extra cash outside of my business. Because what was happening for me at the time, yes, I wanted to experiment with this training for my clients, right, to show them how it works and actually be a test case for it and be like, I believe in this method, watch me do it. But also at the time, I was feeling some real anxiety, financial anxiety. And when I feel financial anxiety, I know at this point in my life, she is never about money. She is always about something else, because money or anxiety really loves to latch itself onto money because it's a really easy place. It's a really easy scapegoat. It's a really easy thing to fiddle with and be stressed about. And you can look at the numbers and be like, see, the numbers aren't what I want. And so you just like keep trying to fiddle with numbers and you kind of just end up spinning yourself in circles with that anxiety. Your anxiety is actually usually about something else. So for me, when financial anxiety comes up for me, I actually know that it's usually about my stability and my security, okay? And my stability and my security coming from me, right? Because it doesn't matter how much money I have in the bank account. My brain still has that path worn in it that's from my starving artist days of like, yeah, what if it all dries up? What if you're fucked? What if you have to move back in with your parents? What if you can't pay your rent? Right? That path is worn. So even though I've worn a new path, sometimes when things are stressful, right, my thinking tends to go back to that worn path. And so what was happening this summer, my parents, this is just one of the things, but my parents moved out of our childhood home recently, sold our childhood home, and they moved down to Florida. They are living their best life. I am so fucking happy for them. It is so wonderful to see them living their dream. And also, maybe I'll have them on the podcast one day. Watching what their financial decisions and stability were able to give them in this next chapter of their life, nearing retirement. Like, they're literally living at Margaritaville and living college life. Like, they had a foam party on July 4th. Like, that kind of living. It's so incredible. So I just want to say I'm so fucking happy for them. But of course, selling that childhood home, like for me, kind of hit a stability wound, because there were times in between contracts, or like even when my partner and I had breaks in our leases, like our lease ended in the end of July and our new lease didn't start until the middle of August, we were able to go back to that house. I was able to go back and stay at that house. And even though I never really needed to do this, my brain was like, okay, Brooke, if you can't pay rent, you're always able to go back and stay at that house for a time until you get back on your feet. And as an artist, right, who was sold the starving artist narrative, that always was like this comforting little subconscious thought that made me feel safe. And so this house like symbolized that. And so when that was sold, it kind of shook me, right, a little bit. But then also, of course, like seeing all the stuff that was happening in the world, hurricanes were happening at that time. There was just other stuff that was going on in my personal life, and then also on the large scale, where all of a sudden, it started to feel like the ground was shaking underneath me, right? And like I was no longer standing on sturdy ground. It was cracking and I was shaking and I didn't have anything to grab onto. So my brain started being like, you're stressed about money, you're stressed about money, you're stressed about money. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's not actually I was stressed about money. There was this stability and this safety that I needed to work on in my brain to feel safe again. So what did that safety and security actually look like? What it came from, this is what I got down to. I'm making a long story, not short at all. But what I realized and what I got down to was that I actually stopped believing that no matter what, I'd be able to take care of myself. I had that belief really strongly when I was a vagabond actor, because I literally had all my stuff in my car and I really was taking care of myself. I was scrappy. I could make money whenever I needed to. Like I had so much belief and confidence in myself. But now I've built this one business that fully supports my life, which is so incredible. And I live in this incredible apartment in New York City, and I found the love of my life. And like, there are so many things that are so wonderful that are happening. But what happened was it kind of shrunk my scope of what I was doing in my life. And that started to feel really scary. And then also I had created something that I was terrified to lose. I had created this life that I was so scared to lose. So again, this is where my anxiety was coming from. So what I decided to do was I had to change my thoughts, change what was happening in my mindset. And in order to create those new thoughts, I had to go out and get tactical evidence. So one of the thoughts that I wanted to believe was like, Brooke, no matter what, you're going to be able to not only make money, but take care of yourself and put a roof over your head. Intellectually, I know that. In my body did not want to believe that, right? So I was like, well, I'm going to literally go out and show you that even if my business burned to the ground tomorrow, I would still be able to take care of myself, right? No matter what, right? Take away my business, I'm still going to be okay. And so that's what I went out to create evidence for. I was like, how fun to tap back into vagabond actor Brooke, making money however she can, getting cash in the bank, to show myself that if an emergency happened, I could bring cash into my world. So I'm going to actually line out for you exactly what I did. So I let my brain go wild and crazy with ideas of what are all the ways that I could make money this month. So one of the first things that came to mind was like, well, let me get on a dog walking app. So I got on a dog walking app and I ended up I did like a weekend stay at, I got to spend some time with some dogs, which was so lovely because we don't own a dog. So I made, $230 watching a dog one weekend. And then I also decided to look into checking account bonuses. So because I'm on salary now, I've elected as an S Corp, which is just in the tax world, you're seen as a corporation, not as a individual self-employed person. So because I'm a corporation now, I actually put myself on salary. So I actually have a direct deposit where now I can qualify for all of these checking account bonuses that require a direct deposit every month. So I was like, let me get my bag with these checking account bonuses. So usually they just have stipulations where it's like, you have to have 2 qualifying checking or direct deposits within 90 days or something, and then you get a couple $100. So I signed up for a couple of those. those. I'll do the numbers here at the end, but I did a couple of those. I applied for, a Target debit card, and then you got a $50 gift card to Target. So I did that and then canceled the debit card. So I got $50 from Target. I worked one or two background gigs. So I made $240 there. And then let me see. Oh, this was a wild one. So then I had this idea, and this is part of, I'm going to share this with you because it's part of the creativity of what you need to do during this process. Put every idea out on paper. Even if it's dumb, even if it doesn't make sense, you're going to put it out on paper and then be like, could I actually do it? Do I actually want to do it? So one of the things that came up, we had been watching Hulu recently. I don't remember what show we were watching on Hulu, but FanDuel, like the betting app commercials, came up all the time. And I do not condone betting. I am vehemently like my body clams up when I think about gambling. I'm not a gambler, but I would see these things come up and it was like $200 worth of bonus bets. And I was like, I wonder, I know nothing about betting. I was like, I wonder if I could get those $200 of bonus bets, bet it, and then like get cash in my bank and not have to actually bet any dollars. So I tried this, and it was, you had to like pay $5 of your own money to like put down your first bet, but then you got $200 of bonus bets. So I did this on 2 different apps, and I watched like a 5-minute YouTube video to tell me like which bets are the safest. Okay. So I bet this $400 total worth of bonus bets. And so me putting in $10 and then doing these bonus bets in my bank account, I was able to get $116. So such a silly, ridiculous example that I would not recommend. I'm not saying everyone go get the bonus bets on these gambling apps, because also being on the gambling apps, terrifying. Seeing how easy it is to like drain your bank account putting bets in and how gamified the whole thing is. Oh God, if you just, let's stay off of them, right? Like I see why gambling can become a problem. Terrifying. But anyway, I got $116 in my bank account from it, right? So it's like these kinds of silly ideas, but it was like, oh, cash there, cash there, cash there. Also during this time, I don't think it was a surprise that I booked my first ever commercial, like from a self-submission. I had done 2 commercials before, back when I was in Florida, and it was because I knew people who were casting something, right? So I was in 2 commercials before, but this was the first time I booked one just from a self-submission. And so I booked a commercial. And that was $600 for the day. And then I also had, and this is not, money-wise, but I also got 3 callbacks in that span of 30 days. 3 callbacks for theater shows that were perfect for me, that are like dream shows for me. And I've gotten 5 callbacks total this year for theater shows, and 3 of them came during this 30 days. So I also want to say there's an energetic thing happening here where I was just opening myself up to all the money, all the things. Like, we make money when we act, right? So I was opening myself up to all of the things. And so there was some cool serendipitous stuff that was happening as well. I also think it's funny that this was like the next month. So I kind of did this for 2 months. But I got selected for jury duty, and it was like 5 days long. So I ended up making $200 from jury duty. And then I also have a couple of more checking account bonuses that are going to hit at the end of this year and early next year. So in total, during this 30 days, I made almost $2,000. Right? And that's not including the $900 that's coming in the future. This is like $2,000 that hit my bank account from just me playing with the idea of how can I make extra cash, not having anything to do with my business. Okay? So if this is you, if you're in that first category of people, or you just want to play with the energy of what does it look like to bring more money in, this is the process. The 3M process is you go and you start with manifestation. You start with, what do you want to make? What do you want to call in? What do you want to bring in? Write a little affirmation, listen to it every day. Second thing is you're going to make a crazy long list. Every single idea you can think of how cash could hit your bank, write it down and let it be a running list. Add things to it all the time. Don't try and edit it. It could be the most ridiculous idea. I need OnlyFans to be on every single person's list, because I know it came up in your brain when you were like, how can I make extra money? It always comes up in everyone's brain. Does that mean you actually have to get on OnlyFans? No. But put it on your list, because I want you to be telling your brain that every idea is a good idea. Do not try and edit it. Let it throw every fucking wild thing at you, because you never know what's going to come up. Okay? So now you have your list. Then you're going to start moving mad. That's the third M. So it's manifestation, make a list, and then move mad, which means you are just starting to take action on everything on your list. And your goal is to keep going until you've completely exhausted your list and you've hit every roadblock, and you have nothing left to do. I'm telling you, you're never going to reach the end of your list. You're never going to hit that many roadblocks before you actually have something happen. Okay? So then that's your task list. That's the simplicity of what this process is. So with this, then you can also use this same principle if you're wanting to make a full lifestyle change. So the full lifestyle change, this is a bit of a different energy. So what the full lifestyle change is you want to start your own business. You want to move to a new company, or you want to shift into a new career path or something of that nature. What this is going to require is the same exact process. You're just thinking more high level. So like, I don't want you worrying about checking account bonuses. I want you thinking about how are all of the ways that I could meet and connect with the people at this specific company or in this specific world or in this specific career path that I want to move into, right? So I don't want you thinking about getting on a dog walking app. I don't want you to think about getting the $3 raise an hour at your restaurant. I want you thinking about what is the job that I desire? What's the thing I want to create? Okay. So I was talking to one of my clients about this recently. And she was talking about how she's really passionate about like herbology. She was a vegan or is a vegan, but like that kind of holistic health wellness is something that's a big thing for her. And so she was getting excited about moving away from this job that she's currently doing, right? As an actor, she has the same thought of like, I don't just want to keep waiting for a series regular, right? Like, I don't want my entire life to be just waiting for that. So let me create something that I love outside of it. And so what we got down to is like, okay, now you have this idea. Now you have this thing you're passionate about. Let's start running with it. And she was like, okay, yeah, but like to create a whole bit, it just feels like so far away. Like maybe I want to monetize it on YouTube. I have to create this whole channel, and like, how do I do this and whatever? And it's like, whoa, back all the way up. You don't have to like create this whole fucking thing before you start doing it and making money from it. Okay. I want to talk about, okay, LLCs for a second. I know so many people who have this brilliant business idea, and they go out, they pay for branding, they get a logo, they start a website, they go and register for an LLC, they get an EIN number, they build this whole business. And then one, they can't get clients and they can't make money from it, or they like stop being excited about it. So completely reverse it. I want you focused on do the thing that feels exciting right now. And then how can you use that thing to bring money into your bank account right now? So for example, one of my other clients was really excited about interior design. He was having the same kinds of thoughts of like, okay, well, I have to get the website up or like my Instagram page, and I have to have all these things to be able to send people. And I'm like, what if you just created a one-page PDF document that you could send to this friend who's already interested and already wants your services? Use them as a beta client and then go pitch yourself to 4 other people. Money in your bank literally by next week with the skill set you already have, and you don't even have to start an Instagram page. Same with another client. We were talking about the same thing. She's working a job right now, and she is realizing that it is not the kind of career she wants to be in. And she thinks she wants to start a life coaching business. She's brilliant and she's so good at it. And she's already doing this in her old job. She was doing this anyway. So she was thinking about like, again, I have to like create this whole thing. And it's like, no, again, just write out the package you want to sell and pitch it to someone. Like, go out and try and make the money tomorrow. Right? Or try and start doing the thing tomorrow. So this other client, the one who's really into herbology, I was like, whatever's exciting for you, go start doing it. So go start making the YouTube videos about how you healed a specific thing with your herbs. Like, just go do that, right? Or if it's really fun for you to get on TikTok and start talking about whatever you want to talk about, go do that, right? Or if it's fun for you to like call up your friends and be like, hey, if you're interested, like I'm going to give away like 3 free like session protocols where I'm going to like give you an action plan of how to improve your wellness with these specific supplements or whatever, like let me know. Go start doing it. Okay. Because what happens, and this is what happened when we were having this conversation, she then was like, wait, what about this? And like, oh, I'm afraid of this now. And wait, I'm confused about how I would do this thing. So then all of these questions and things she needed to answer and think about came up, but they only came up when she actually allowed herself to believe that she could start doing this tomorrow. When she made it not this far off thing that she was going to have to build and create, but something that she could actually immerse herself in tomorrow. Right? Which is exactly what you want. So I'm going to give you the same thing that I gave her, which is the phrase, follow your breadcrumbs of joy. This was my mantra through the pandemic during those dark first couple of months, right? When I was a deep, dark hole, as so many of us were. I was like, just follow your breadcrumbs of joy. There's no auditions. There's no acting. Like, I don't just want to sit here doing monologues in my room while there's a pandemic going on. That's fucking crazy. So what's fun for me right now? And so what started as me just writing, like I was writing narrative pieces that had nothing to do with money, just me and my personal life. One was, I pitched one to a blog that ended up never getting published, but then that blog is then what had me thinking, what I could write about money. Money's really fun for me to talk about. So I started writing about money, and these blogs are then what turned into an Instagram page. And I was not planning on monetizing it. My idea of what this would turn into, like I really thought I was going to end up being a content creator, which like, yes, every business owner is a content creator now, but I thought I was like moving more towards like financial influencer space. But then it like slowly started turning into coaching and then a group program. And like now here we are, and now I'm speaking and I have one-on-one clients, and it's this whole thing that I couldn't have even predicted back when I was starting by writing a blog that had nothing to do with money. Okay. So when it comes to starting a business or starting something, right, you just have to follow your breadcrumbs of joy, because it will change. And the thing you dream up now, it's probably going to end up looking a lot different. So what feels easy, and like, what's that first next step you can be taking when you're trying to create this totally new thing? And this isn't just about starting your own business. My partner had to go through this process when he was completely changing career paths. Not totally, but he wanted to be an office manager. He wanted to be in workplace experience. He wanted to be more in charge of like culture and the systems behind how you create a company culture. He had worked as an office manager at a guitar pedal company when he was younger. And that's kind of along the lines of what he wanted to do. But the company was very small. It was like 3 people, and he wanted to work at a bigger company. But from that, he went from that, and then he started working at a coffee roaster. He also had his own business cleaning houses. So he was doing all of these other things. And then he decided he wanted to make a huge career pivot where he was like, again, what I was saying, the second category of people, where he was like, the money in this path of like working at this coffee roaster, there's no way I'm going to be able to make the kind of money I want to make. And he was like literally injured, like his back got injured working at this coffee roaster. He was like, my body is getting older. I can't do this anymore. So he then had to go to square one, where he was like, okay, what's the first thing that excites me? And he had like a job description that he posted up on the wall for an entire year as he was going through this career transition. So he was having to do the same exact thing, right? Where it was like, what feels like the next right thing? What feels like the next right thing? Who's the next person I can talk to? What's the other job description that's similar to this one that I want to apply for, right? And he ended up doing this job that like is actually very different than what he initially thought he was probably going to end up in at a company he couldn't have dreamed of. Like, so it ended up being totally different, but this can work no matter where you're at. If you want to start something new, if you want to change careers, if you want to jump companies, you can use these same principles no matter what, okay? And what I want to hammer home here is that it is in your control. When your brain starts to tell you that it's out of your control and go into like, well, it's kind of hopeless, boo-hoo, woe is me, like, okay, let yourself go there for a second, right? We do have external factors at play here. We do have systemic issues that are at play here, right? Especially if we live in America. Here we are with the society, like when we're talking economy and jobs and income and things like that, right? Like there are systemic issues. And what do you want to do about it? You want to sit back and be like, okay, well, this is what it is. Or do you want to jump into the driver's seat and be like, I'm going to make something happen. I don't know if it's the thing I want to end up doing for the rest of my life, but I got to make something happen, right? And with this too, I want to hammer home that you don't have to jump into the abyss and take a huge risk here. this could be one of the safest things you ever do. So as I was building my business, I had another job I was working that was totally paying the bills. So everything I was making from my business was just extra money. And I actually didn't quit that day job until I made $15,000 in 1 month with my business. And I was like, okay, the dissonance here, right? Like the actual time, it actually logically no longer makes sense for me to keep this day job. But I kept that day job all up until that month where I was like, okay, it's a no-brainer for me to quit my day job now. If your brain is telling you can't start doing something because you still have this day job and it's draining, you're going to have the same excuses once you quit your day job, right? So you have to be honest with yourself of like, what am I actually avoiding? What's actually keeping me stuck? And how can I remove that barrier to entry? So just like this client example I was talking about where she was like, well, I have no idea how to even start monetizing a YouTube channel. It's like, I have to create this whole thing. And it's like, okay, so if you want money and you want to create about herbology, right? I'm sure she's like cringing hearing me talk about this because she's like, that's not really what it is. But the phrase she used was herbology. So I was like, okay, so if the problems you want to solve are make money and you also want to like do the thing that's enjoyable, then what are all of the options where you can go do that? Again, go pitching to a friend you know, or like going to, I don't know, like when I first started wanting to make money from my money business, I started pitching to colleges because I knew that, and I had connections with college professors that would bring me in to do workshops. So that was like the easiest first domino to fall. And then like go do the thing that's fun. So like go start making the YouTube videos. So whenever your brain is giving you a roadblock of like why you can't go make money or do the things or have the lifestyle you want, attack them, talk back. You have to remember you get to talk back to your brain and fight it when it's giving you reasons that you don't like or giving you roadblocks that like are actually getting in your way. And the last 2 reminders that I want to leave you with is making more money doesn't mean anything if you don't know how to manage it. Again, I've worked with people at every income level, and if you don't know how to manage your money when you're making pennies, you're not going to know how to manage it when you're making millions, and you're going to feel just as broke and just as stressed, and there's going to be just as little in your bank account if you don't know how to manage it. And the second thing is getting clear on how much you want to make is important, right? Actually quantify what more means for you and ground it into something real. So do you want to have a 6-figure business because it's just a fun number to have in your head and you know that that's like the benchmark for success? Or do you want to have a 6-figure business because you know you need $70K to actually live and $20K to invest back in your business, and you know it takes $70K to live as you month or year to year to year because you've gotten clear on your baseline expenses and you know how much you want to invest personally and whatever. Do you see how that's so much more specific? So like if you want to make an extra $500 a month, why? If you want to double your business revenue, why? If you want to get a new job at X amount of salary, why? You have to anchor it into something real for you because that's the only thing that's going to keep you motivated going forward. Okay, I hope this inspired you. Go start making moves. Make your list, like get a list on your phone. So anytime you're feeling like stuck or in a plateau, you can go to your list and there's something there for you to take action on. Action is the antidote to feeling stressed and feeling stuck, right? Taking action, not always, right? We do love our rest, but having a list of things you can take action on is something that's super beneficial, especially if you feel like you're stuck or you're feeling like things are out of control. You can go make something happen for yourself, and that's one of the best things that you can do for yourself in those times. All right, have a great rest of your week. I will see you next Friday. Thanks so much for tuning in. Come join me on Instagram for more on how to build a simple, sexy relationship with your money. My Instagram handle is @notstarvingartists. And if you want to dive deeper with me, head to the show notes to learn more about one-on-one coaching. If you love this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend that you want to get rich with.